Hey guys, so today I kind of just wanted to take you guys out on a walk and talk about something that has really been bothering me ever since I was a child. Actually, I'm going the wrong way. And that it's starting to really affect my life. And I figured that if I'm just a normal 27-year-old dealing with this problem, I'm sure many of you also are struggling with something similar. We're going on a walk, beautiful area in Jeju, if you haven't noticed all the volcanic rocks, but we're on Jeju Island in South Korea. So I figured that there isn't really a better spot than a tropical island to kind of deal with like your mental health and traumatic experiences, right? So first of all, we're gonna go to the convenience. I want to pick up some snacks, just kind of show you guys around the island before we get started on this talk. The convenience store is not too far off, so I figured I might as well just get started. But basically, ever since I was a child, I've always been afraid of like getting in trouble. I don't know if that's the right way to frame it. I'm not a psychologist, by the way, so like take everything with a grain of salt that I'm saying. I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts, but I've always been afraid of like breaking the rules, getting in trouble. But as I grew older, that trouble kind of shifted, you know, like in elementary school, high school, it was like parent-teacher conferences, report cards, like getting detention, like those sorts of things, right? But I had like a really bad anxiety over it for some reason. And as I got older, that kind of shifted to other things. It shifted to going to the DMV, replying to an email to your boss, doing taxes, or even something silly as like going through airport security. You know, it's like I'm not doing anything wrong in these instances, or maybe I'm making a mistake, but I feel as if I'm like breaking the law. If you don't have this problem, probably skip the video because it doesn't apply to you. But like, if you have like this weird sense of dread or anxiety, you know, for me, even just showing up to work. I remember every time I worked, you know, at a part-time job at the grocery store, I would always dread going to work. And not even necessarily because there's like something wrong. It's just like the act of showing up to work it gave me such anxiety, and I didn't know why. And I never really understood why, and so I started questioning as to why I was feeling this. Because growing up, I thought it was quite normal. I thought everyone was afraid of missing 1-2 questions on their exam. Like even if I got a 97% score on the exam, I would focus so much on that 1-2 question, and it gave me such anxiety. But I thought it was normal. I thought every kid had that problem, you know? But growing up in like an Asian household, every time I did something wrong, I would get punished for it, right? So I found this really nice spot here. It's right outside my Airbnb, but it's like a little wooden thing here right in the middle of like a parking lot, and you'll take your shoes off. Anyways, super nice, beautiful view of the ocean. Most importantly, I'm under the shade, you know, or away from the rain. So anyways, just gonna stack this lens up. Hopefully it's okay. I don't know. Is that working? Okay, that's good. Also, I wrote my journal about this yesterday as well, so I kind of just wanted to share what I wrote. I realized is like, I was afraid of being punished, I guess. I'm afraid of some entity of authority, whether it's like my parents, whether it's like the government, or, you know, even something as like, let's say like airport security, or like just like airport staff. Just kind of like someone in like that position of authority kind of like punishing me, or like taking away my freedom or my control, because I felt helpless as a kid, really. I'm sure we all did, right? We felt helpless as a kid. We couldn't really do anything. I'm just like afraid of getting punished. Like, oh, I'm a little bit overweight on my like carry-on or check-in, so there's like a whole like my head thinks of the worst case scenario. It jumps from, oh, I'm like 3 kilograms over the weight limits, therefore they won't let me board and I'll miss my flight, and if I miss my flight, I'll overstay my visa, and if I overstay my visa, I cannot enter the country again, or something like that, right? Or like, and it really started to make sense once I looked at it from like how I grew up and how I was raised, because I missed this one question, therefore I'm gonna get my ass beat, essentially, right? We ended up getting some coffee. This is like a hazelnut latte or something. Well, it is super windy, guys, so forgive me. So how am I dealing with this? Journaling really helps, for one. Just like acknowledging it, that it is a problem, that it is affecting my life, that I'm not just making it up, right? That even if it's such a small problem in the grand scheme of things. Like, I always think mental health is like, I don't want to say I have depression. I don't want to admit that I have like an anxiety attack, because I feel bad, because it means that people that are dealing with real problems, you know, they're like, you know, people are dying, people are starving, people are really depressed. My life is I'm really blessed. Look at where I'm at, right? So I felt like I couldn't suffer, if that makes sense. I couldn't, you know, have these things. But I realized that's wrong. And I realized that kind of like with physical health, mental health is the same. So like with physical health, even though you don't have cancer, you know, if you cut your arm, like I did on the rocks, right, it still hurt. And you should still take care of it, I guess. So that's kind of what I realized. Like, yeah, even though this is not like the biggest thing in the world, it still really affects my life. And it might not be a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to my life. So if you're facing a problem similar to me, even though you think that it's not a big problem for other people, it's a big problem for you, and you should try to figure it out, right? So anyways, journaling really helps. Just like writing it down, just something about writing it down, get my thoughts out. And then after that, I talked to ChatGPT. And then after that, I kind of just wanted to make this video, just kind of talking, you know, whether or not someone watches it or not, whether it's helpful or whatever the case is, I just wanted to make this video. I kind of want this channel to be about that, you know, like just going through life, talking about my problems and the journey along the way. And I really hope it's helpful for someone out there, honestly. So anyways, that's like the first step. Actually, I wrote something really good in this journal the other day. I realized I was lacking confidence, right? Confidence is not before action. Action happens before confidence. And what I mean by that is like, instead of looking at my problems, like let's say taxes, for instance, and like all the things I have to do, like, oh, I have to learn how to do this, file for an appeal, etc. I should just focus on the things that I did do. For instance, okay, I did realize that there was a problem, that's a good thing that I should celebrate, right? Okay, I did send out an email to like figure out what happened. Like, these are all small steps, but I, you know, never took it for granted. Kind of like with my exam, right? Like, got a 93%, 97%, whatever the case is. I didn't look at the 97 questions that I got right. I only looked at the 3 I got wrong. And yeah, so you have to like really appreciate what you did and like how you got here. Sometimes it snowballs, and I feel like there's so much I have to do, and I get overwhelmed really easily. I think that's the second thing, other than fear of punishment, is just being overwhelmed. And yeah, just like take it small, one step at a time. So yeah, I thought that was really good. Don't be so hard on yourself, right? Like, we are our own biggest critics. I realize. This is actually really, really good advice that ChatGPT gave me. My best friend ChatGPT is that if my future son came up to me with the exact same problems that I did, like, hey dad, I really messed up on taxes, you know, I really don't want to go to work, I'm very stressed about these things, I made a mistake, what should I do? How would you react to them? You know? And that kind of really hit me, because yeah, if my son came up to me with the exact same problem, I'd be like, son, that's not a big problem. Just like, we'll figure it out, you know? I wouldn't be like, oh my god, you're so bad. You're like, you should have figured this out earlier. I wouldn't do that to them. So why am I doing that to myself, honestly? Right? Like, show yourself compassion. And that kind of changed everything for me. Like, all the problems that I thought was a big deal. Like, if my son came up to me and was like, hey, we're a little bit overweight, I'm very stressed. Like, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out. Like, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to die, you're not going to prison. I wouldn't be stressed about that at all. So why am I so stressed about it myself? I think that's crazy, you know? That's crazy. Like, we're so tough on ourselves that, like, if it came to anyone else, it's kind of like a no-brainer. It's like, of course, you idiot. Like, why are you even stressed about these things? Like, it's not a big deal. But for me, it's like the end of the world. Okay, so I guess that kind of wraps it up. I realize now that these anxiety, these fear, they're all, even though they're different problems, they all stem from like the same, like they all have like the same root. And yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly. I'm trying to deal with it right now. I'm not saying I've figured out the way, right? But I just kind of had some stuff to kind of, you know, ease my mind. First thing is acknowledging what it is, you know, acknowledging that it is affecting your life. You could be living a better life if you solve it. The second thing is taking small steps, daily action, and really taking those small steps is like the first small step is really the most difficult, right? It's like opening up that book, opening that Google Doc, and starting that first sentence. Like, that's the most difficult, is starting it. And to even start that, you have to have compassion for yourself. You have to like say, okay, well, you did do a good thing, you know, like you have done good stuff, because you realize that you're not taking the first step. You've already taken the first step 20 steps ago, you know? And if all else fails, just imagine your loved ones or someone you really care about, you know, if they came up to you with these things, what would you do, you know? How would you treat them? And the way that you treat them, I almost 100% guarantee is going to be way nicer than how you're treating yourself, for sure. Do you guys like this series? How do you guys like this video? I know it was a little bit of a long rant, but I don't know. I just felt like the right type of content to make. I just really hate the stuff that's out there these days. You know, everything on Instagram, social media is like, oh, I'm perfect. This is my life in Jeju. I'm living in peace. Like, I'm like, no, man, I'm struggling with problems, you know, silly problems at that. Not even like, oh, no matter where we are, we have our own problems. And I'm just kind of, hopefully, I've just been kind of blessed to be in this environment, right? Like, I'd rather be depressed by the ocean than be depressed like in a big city in like a tiny cramped apartment. And I really feel for you if that's the case for you. So I really wanted to just make this video. Hopefully it helps someone out. If you like this type of content, please like the video. It just lets me know that I'm in the right direction. Just subscribe to the channel. We have some more fun content for sure, but I really do want to make more of these like mental health travel journal type videos, vlogs, I guess. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time.